Hi all, myself Dr. Harish Mallapura Maheshwarappa, working as consultant in charge in the Department of Critical Care Medicine, Muzumdar Shah Medical Center, Narayan Rudayalaya. So maybe in the next 15 minutes, we'll discuss on different aspects of fluid therapy and how we can select particular fluid in relation to different critical care setting or different disease, that is disease specific fluid therapy. So when it comes to selection of fluid, so being a clinician, so what we are interested, so is it going to change any mortality, morbidity? Our main concern, like, is it going to have any increased incidence of renal injury, requirement of renal replacement therapy? What is its impact on the coagulation? So how much amount of fluid needed to achieve the resuscitation goals? So what is the cumulative fluid balance at the end of the day, and what is the impact of this cumulated fluid balance on the clinical scenario? So basically we are in search of so-called ideal resuscitation fluid or ideal maintenance fluid. So it should have a predictable and sustained increase in intravascular volume, metabolized and completely excreted, so chemical composition close to extracellular fluid, no adverse metabolic or systemic effects. So finally it should be cost effective in terms of improving the overall outcome. So when it comes to selection of fluids, so in the last 2-3 decades we like came across lots of clinical trials. So from like crystalloid versus colloids, that is targeting the starch, we had chest, Christmas, crystal and success trial. So crystalloids versus the colloid, particularly when it compares to albumin, we had EARSS trial, Albios trial and SAFE trial. So crystalloids versus colloid, that is a gelatin, we don't have a major RCT, but we had a published meta-analysis. We had some sort of conclusion from that. So within the crystalloids, so now we reached into the era. So suppose crystalloids are better, among the crystalloids, which one to choose? Whether we go for normal saline or other balanced crystalloids like plasma light or maybe ringer lactate or ringer gluconate maleate and all. So we had 3 major trial on that, that is smart, split and salted. So these trial has been distributed across different clinical scenarios. Will go one by one. So when it comes to fluid selection in septic patients, okay, so this is so-called landmark trial, we can call it as, that is 6S Scandinavian trial, which got published somewhere in 2012. So hydroxyethyl starch versus that of the ringer acetate in sepsis patients. The conclusion showed patient with severe sepsis assigned to fluid resuscitation with hydroxyethyl starch increased risk of death at day 90, more likely to require renal replacement therapy as compared to those receiving the ringer acetate. So basically, so there was lots of data available prior to this study, like chest, Christmas and crystal trial. So this is something which helped in the changing the therapeutic approach in terms of fluid selection in septic patient. Clearly showed that we need to concentrate on crystalloids, not on the colloids. So suppose worst scenario, we know that like starch is bad. Can we use albumin for resuscitation in septic patients? So this was a crystalloids versus colloid. So the trial called SAFE trial. So near about 7,000 patients included across Australia and New Zealand. So in conclusion, by and large, at the end of the study, they concluded there is no major difference whether you use 4% albumin or that of the normal saline. But when they analyzed subgroup analysis, which clearly showed when a patient is having severe sepsis and septic shock, there is some favorable data for albumin as a resuscitation fluid as compared to that of the normal saline. Again, albumin is absolutely contraindicated because which increased the mortality rate in a patient with trauma, particularly head injury patients. So basically, to conclude, when it comes to severe sepsis, septic shock, the obvious selection of fluid is going to be crystalloid. If at all you want to use, we can go for colloid, that is albumin, not the starch, not the gelatin. So that is data available in patients with severe sepsis, septic shock with a 4% albumin. Move on to one more critically ill patient category, that is liver failure patients. So what we need to select, so when it comes to liver dysfunction, we know that so major like conversion of lactate acetate is going to happen in the liver into the bicarbonate. So suppose my question is the RL is absolutely contraindicated. If you come, like answer is fluid option depends upon the severity of the liver dysfunction and its ability to convert lactate and acetate into bicarbonate. So if the patient is totally absolutely having a severe liver dysfunction acute fulminant liver failure with a high lactate and all, maybe it is prudent to avoid the ringer lactate. So then we can go for like ringer acetate. So if the patient is having persistent hypoglycemia, so then we need to go for choosing the dextrose based fluid, either it is a 5% dextrose or dextrose normal saline, that is DNS. So as a maintenance fluid, not as a like resuscitation fluid. So we have to be very careful if the patient is having hepatic encephalopathy with the raised intracranial pressure with the cerebral edema, when we choose dextrose as a maintenance fluid, because it can cause increase in the cerebral edema. So if the patient is having cerebral edema, hepatic encephalopathy with an ongoing hypotension, because we know that liver dysfunction is going to cause distributive shock with a peripheral vasodilatation, then it's better to choose saline based fluid, that is 0.9% or 3% saline if the patient is having cerebral edema, which helps in some sort of volume expansion, along with that which helps in the like cerebral edema management also. Albumin is the like selection fluid if the patient is having hepatorenal syndrome, or if the patient with the liver dysfunction, particularly decompensated cirrhosis with a huge ascites, if he underwent large volume paracentesis. So move on to next category, that is fluid selection in acute kidney injury patient. We know that when it comes to like normal saline, so among the crystalloids, so we put a pull stop, no colloids in critically ill patient. When it comes to crystalloids, so among the crystalloids, normal saline, which is going to contain the chloride, so this causes the like renal vasoconstriction. So more chance of rise in creatinine, more chance of renal injury, more requirement of the renal replacement therapy, because chloride is the culprit there. So this was one data which got published in 2012 when they compared like association between chloride rich versus chloride restricted therapy. So it clearly suggests if you use chloride rich fluid, that is the crystalloids, so increase in serum creatinine, increase in renal injury and that of the failure, more and more requirement of the renal replacement therapy, though there was no difference in hospital or ICU mortality or ICU or hospital length of stay, but there is a clear clue that so normal saline is going to cause increased chance of renal injury. So this is one trial which we got published in 2018, that is SMART trial. So balanced crystalloids versus saline in critically ill patients. So 15,000 patients across USA were included. So to conclude, so major adverse kidney events were more in a patient who received like normal saline as compared to that of the balanced crystalloid, that was statistically significant. So next secondary outcome, so like there was some hint to suggest that patient had some sort of increased hospital ICU stay and that of the in-hospital death, but it was not statistically significant. So, but when it comes to renal replacement therapy requirement, obviously patient who received normal saline increased like requirement of the renal replacement therapy. So this was one more trial which got published in 2015. So effect of buffered crystalloid solutions versus saline on kidney injury among patients in ICU. So this was split trial, so which doesn't shows any changes in terms of like renal replacement requirement, renal injury or mass mortality, but they conclude so large randomized clinical trials are needed to assess the efficacy in higher risk patients. So to prove that normal saline is bad. So there are some limitations with this trial. So because after achieving a particular chloride level, so they like shift from normal saline to that of the other balanced crystalloid. So they were not able to assess the severity of the outcome in terms of using the normal saline. So this one more trial, we got balanced crystalloid versus saline in non-critically ill adult patient, particularly they done in emergency department. We know that SMART trial, which showed increased incidence of renal injury and renal replacement therapy in intensive care unit. But if you use a limited volume of normal saline, particularly up to 1.5 liter as a resuscitation fluid in like non-critically ill patient in emergency department, this data suggests there was no difference if you use normal saline versus that of the balanced crystalloid in non-critically ill patient in emergency department in a limited volume. So that's about the usage of fluid and their selection in background of kidney injury. So when it comes to trauma patients, so this was one review which got published, fluid resuscitation in trauma, what are the best strategies? If planned for damage control resuscitation, avoid excessive fluid, whether you choose crystalloids, so you maintain the permissive hypotension with a MAP of targeting around 55, or like systolic of around 80. So crystalloids are the first option, preferably balanced crystalloids, because we know that like if you give more and more normal saline, so hyperchloremic, normal anion gap acidosis, hypothermia, coagulopathy, triad of death, which is going to have a bad impact in trauma patients also. In head injury patient with the raised ICP and hypovolemia, normal saline and 3% saline are indicated. Albumin is absolutely contraindicated, particularly in head injury patient, because from the SAFE trial which showed increased mortality. So obviously in trauma patient, balanced crystalloids. So trauma with hypotension with raised intracranial pressure, we can choose normal saline or 3% saline. So move on to one more confusion in selecting the fluid in diabetic ketoacidosis. By a holy myth, we know that when it comes to DKA, our selection like roam around normal saline, but this was one like review, systematic review which published recently in 2020. So clinical effects of balanced crystalloids versus saline in adult patients with diabetic ketoacidosis. They included about 170 odd patients. They conclude in the secondary analysis of 2 cluster randomized clinical trial, compared with normal saline, treatment with balanced crystalloids resulted in more rapid resolution of diabetic ketoacidosis, suggesting that balanced crystalloids may be preferred over saline for acute management of DKA. So clearly, there is no need to stick on to normal saline. We can go for balanced crystalloids with a good resolution of the DKA and that of the decrease in like insulin and decrease in the duration of achieving the normoglycemia with the background of diabetic ketoacidosis. Again, choice of fluid in perioperative indication. Okay, so our concern in the perioperative period is also hyperchloremia, hyperkalemia, metabolic acidosis. With this target, they analyzed the available data. So clearly there is an unfavorable observation as compared to like balanced crystalloids versus that of the hydroxyethyl starch in critically ill patients in the perioperative period, with an increase in renal replacement therapy requirement, with an increase in renal injury. So hydroxyethyl starch was replaced by gelatin or ringer lactate. Okay, so that we had a very narrowed options in a perioperative period. So large volume of normal saline disturbs the acid-base balance, okay, which is again detrimental even in neurosurgery, acute major bleeding, or in pediatric surgeries and all. So only few studies included in this review report the deleterious effect of hydroxyethyl starch on the bleeding status of the patient. So basically bleeding, renal injury, renal replacement therapy worsens with hydroxyethyl starch. So renal injury, renal replacement therapy increased with the normal saline in a perioperative period also. Again, stick on to balanced crystalloids. If at all you want to use like colloids, so we can go for gelatin. So as long as we don't have the good RCT on the gelatin. So this is one more meta-analysis. They included like crystalloids versus colloid among critically ill, trauma, and other group of patients like surgical patient, near about like 17,000 patients among 59 RCTs they included. So did not lead to increased mortality if you use the colloid, so which got published in 2016, but they were increased risk of like developing acute kidney injury requiring renal replacement therapy. So increased mortality and renal replacement therapy when you use pentastarch as compared to that of the tetrastarch in critically ill patient with the background of sepsis. Again, colloids are dangerous. So again, to conclude, do you think we have any sort of ideal fluid in different disease specific modality of fluid selection? Answer is no. So maybe in general, crystalloids better than the colloids in critically ill, whatever the background. So gelatin can be an option till we get more and more randomized control trials. Albumin can be an option in liver dysfunction patient or severe sepsis, but not in trauma, definitely in head injury patient. So-called normal saline is no more normal. It is indeed an abnormal saline with a different clinical scenario. So obviously, normal saline may not be an approach for all critically ill patients as a disease-specific fluid therapy. Thank you all.